you guys? If you're watching this, you are watching the live replay on YouTube. So I quickly decided to come on and do an impromptu live Q&A. So let's see what questions people have for us tonight. I'm not going to be on for long. So let's see. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any astrology questions about your natal charts, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any astrology questions, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any astrology questions, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any astrology questions about your natal charts, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So you guys can let me know in the comments below if you guys have any questions about your natal charts. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any questions about your natal charts, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Welcome to all the people joining. I am answering astrology questions. So if you guys have any astrology questions, you guys can let me know in the comment section and I will answer them in order. Welcome to all the people joining. If you guys have any astrology questions, hello, welcome, Anna. What does a Chiron in Aquarius in the 9th house mean? Okay, so Chiron is the area in life that you're healing. So the house is going to tell you what area it is pertaining to. The sign is going to tell you what kinds of things it could be. So the 9th house is going to be anything to do with education, higher learning, spirituality. It can even be like regular education, like going to school. So for example, for you, going to school, getting certifications, learning new things, it could even be teaching yourself things, is going to be a very healing experience for you. Now, Aquarius is going to tell you what kinds of things those things might be. So anything to do with like futuristic things, you might be into things like astrology, you might be into things like tech, innovation, all these types of things. So doing this is basically a healing experience for you. Let's see. Can you explain Scorpio Venus in retrograde in a natal chart? Absolutely. So Scorpio Venus isn't necessarily the easiest Venus placement to have. Scorpio Venus can be very possessive. You guys really want loyalty. The thing is with the Scorpio Venus, okay, so Venus overall is what we're seeking for in a partner, how we are in relationships, these types of things. So for you guys, when you have Scorpio in there, it's like you guys really want that mind, body, spirit connection. But the thing is, Scorpio really fears betrayal. Sometimes there's a theme of this for them. Sometimes they're just like highly psychic. They pick up on things before they even happen. So it's like when it comes to a relationship, it's going to be really challenging for you because it's like, first you have the fear of betrayal. Then you might fall into codependencies. You really have to integrate these energies within you. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't be in a relationship. You're probably just not going to mesh well with people who have things like Gemini Venus, for example. People who are flighty, maybe people who want surface level things, fun things. You might not get along with these types of people. You want someone with depth. That's the thing with a Scorpio Venus. Retrograde is a lesson that you're relearning in this lifetime. So keep in mind, anytime you have retrograde in your natal chart, you've come back to learn that lesson again. Okay, so there's something from a past life that you didn't learn. So for you, it's in your love and your relationships. Let's see, what else do you guys think? I'm going in order, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. Hey, Sunfire Aries, how are you doing? Okay, let's see. Chiron conjunct North Node, both in Gemini in the 6th house. Chiron conjunct North Node, both in Gemini in the 6th house. Okay, so for you, your current destiny, which is your North Node, and what you're healing through in this lifetime is conjunct, okay? It's basically happening at the same time. So for you, things like being of service are going to be a very healing experience. You might feel like you want to be of service. Now, this is on a huge range. It can be things like working in customer service. It can be things like being a doctor, being a nurse, being a Reiki practitioner. Like anything where you're being of service is part of your destiny, but it's also healing for you. You're healing through these actions, okay? That's one thing. Now, Gemini deals with communication and deals with people. So it's like anytime you're in a service industry of some sort where you're talking to people, you're helping people, you're sharing something, maybe videos like this, you're sharing knowledge, part of your path, part of your destiny, and it's a healing experience for you. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? All of the people who are joining, let me know if you guys have questions about your natal charts. I'm going in order. Sunfire Aries says you have Aries in the 8th house. You said Aries in the 8th house in your sun and your Venus. That's really interesting because it's like, well, first of all, Aries and the 8th house, which is ruled by the sign of Scorpio, used to be both ruled by Mars, right? So when it comes to like your love and your relationships, it could be a lot of ego going on in there when you have Aries and the 8th house in Venus, okay? If you were in here when I was talking to the other person and telling them all about the Scorpio Venus, about how it's possessive and sometimes fears betrayal and sometimes can fall into codependencies, this could happen for you. And then you have Aries in there. So like the Aries is always going to make you pick yourself. So you might even come off selfish when it comes to relationships. Now, when you have these placements, doesn't mean you can't be in a relationship. You just have to basically find people who are going to be grounding for you in this area. So probably like earth placements are going to be very much grounding for you. They're going to be loyal. They're going to be dependable. They're going to be like routine based, depends which one of the earth placements. So they're going to basically ground this energy. Now, when you have fire in there, it's kind of like, let's say you're with an air sign might be too like flighty because like the 8th house wants people to be dependable. That's the thing when you have the 8th house, it wants people to be there. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Anna says you got a Taurus midheaven and you are a Sun, Libra, Gemini, Moon, Leo rising, nothing else in your 10th house. What kind of job can you strive for? Well, that can manifest a lot of different ways. Taurus wants all of the luxurious things in life. So the thing is, Taurus is going to work for the luxury that they want. So you can really be in any realm, right? But you have the Sun, Libra, Gemini, Moon, Leo rising. That's very social. You have to be in a job where you can talk. I'm actually even seeing something like an MC. I'm curious to know if that's something you're interested in, like where you have a microphone and you're like hosting an event. Because the Libra sign is all about hosting things, right? They're all about event planning. They're all about bringing people to them. So there could be an energy of that. Gemini Moon's going to want to talk. It's going to be all about connections, connecting people together. And then Leo rising is going to want to be seen. You know what I mean? So you basically have to be doing something where all of these things are playing out, right? It could even be videos like this. So something, again, where you're on a stage or you have your own stage, you're in front of people, you're helping people, and you're going to want to work hard because you have that Taurus midheaven. Taurus midheaven is really good to have because they want to work hard. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? KY says, Kai, insight on 12th house stelliums. Yes, oh my gosh, okay. So you guys, I have a YouTube channel called Barbara Talks. I have so many videos on the 12th house because whatever I say here is going to just be like a little sprinkle dust of information compared to like so much information that there is about the 12th house in a brief analysis. In a brief analysis, 12th house stellium, you're here to complete some sort of cycle. That's the first thing. There's karma for you to clear. There are past life things for you to clear, right? Past life enemies coming through in this lifetime. Sometimes it's going to come through as friends. Sometimes they're going to come through as lovers. You're going to be highly connected. You're going to be psychic. You're going to feel like you've done this already before. You're going to kind of already be over like the BS, you know, like that you see through people. That's the thing when you have 12th house. So for 12th house stelliums, like things that, you know, could be very helpful for you guys could be things like grounding, being outside, being in nature, not being too much in isolation. That's the biggest thing with the 12th house because the 12th house wants to be in isolation. They want to be alone, but it's the healer's axis. You're here to heal people by being yourself, right? It doesn't necessarily mean like you have to be a doctor or these types of things, right? So that's the thing. You're here to heal people. You're here to help people because it's that healer's axis, the 12th house, 6th house, and it's karmic for you, right? Because it's from a past life. You have all this knowledge. You have all this information. It's a lot of like intuition that you have. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. I'm going in order, so I will get to all of your questions. Let's see. Thoughts on Gemini stelliums. What would you like to know about them? Gemini stelliums have to be seen, okay, in one way, shape, or form. They have to be, you know, being goofy on a stage of some sort as well. I find like Leo, Aquarius, Gemini, and Sag are the placements for like public things, even Libra sometimes too, actually. They really, really want to be talking with the people, interacting with people, marketing, doing fun, creative things. That's Gemini energy. You have to be talking as the written or the spoken word. So it's either through speech or it's through writing. Sometimes the Gemini is going to be shorter things. So it can be like poetry. It can be like making logos for companies or slogans. It can even be songwriting. Really depends on the rest of your natal charts. Also for the 12th house individual, also music is going to be highly connecting for you, right? The frequency is going to be able to pull you up. So when you're in like a high vibe and you're feeling like good because you're listening to a song that you love, envision things, right? You can use that to manifest when you're in those frequencies. Let's see what else you guys saying here. Sun Fire Aries says, how Sun in Aries with Virgo Moon, Virgo Rising. Can you please reword your question? Kay says, what about Aquarius? What would you like to know about Aquarius? Steph says, Leo Mars in the 8th house squaring natal Pluto. Leo Mars in the 8th house. I can see that placement being explosive. That Scorpionic energy, which is the 8th house, and then you have it squaring Pluto. I can see that being very like almost calculative, where it's like, oh, you said that to me that one time. Okay, I'm going to remember it. And when we have a blow up argument, I'm going to throw it in your face. I can see that happening. Because it's squaring Pluto, it's like you might struggle to actually like, you know, not necessarily just explode, but express anger, because that's really what Mars does deal with. But the Leo's in there, right? So it's like you can take these emotions, because sometimes I find anger to be closely connected to passion. You know what I mean? It's very similar, like energetic wise in the body, if that makes sense. So it's like you can take things that make you upset or angry and turn them into passion. And because it's Leo, it can be things that are creative, you know? Things like acting, things like making videos, things like this. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. I'm going in order, so feel free to message in the comments below, you guys. I will get to all of your questions. What's my zodiac sign, sun, moon, rising? Okay, try to guess, you guys. Clara says Pluto in the 12th house. Yes. Pluto is, hold on. Pluto in 12th house. Okay, so you guys have to look at Pluto. It's a generational planet. Whatever house it's going through is what you're transforming through in this lifetime. So for you, Clara, it's going to be anything to do with spirituality. It's going to be art. It's going to be romanticizing things and just romance in life. Sometimes for you, it's like, you know, you have this envision, you have this dream, you have all these things that you want to do. And it's like, when you get them, you go through a transformative experience. Okay, that's kind of how you want to look at Pluto. What else are you guys saying in here? I'm just going in order. Anna says, partners, North Node in your Libra 12th house, where your moon is as well. What can it say about the relationship? So for sure with the 12th house energy in there, it's going to be a past life connection that you guys have and that you guys share. Anna says, thank you, you're welcome. You got a Cancer Mars. Yeah, Cancer Mars is definitely challenging. Okay, Cancer Mars is one of the more challenging Mars placements, but it's like, this is the thing, you shouldn't let anything hold you back. I see astrology as like, okay, these are the energies that I have to work with. Okay, well, for example, when you have Cancer Mars, you might have to work twice as hard to get motivated. You know, you might be very prone to becoming lazy and lethargic. So it's like, okay, maybe you have to keep yourself busy. Maybe you have to have a strict schedule, you know, something to basically keep that adrenaline going. It's very kapha energy. I don't know if you guys know what Ayurveda is, but sometimes even Taurus can be like slow and steady wins the race. You know, even they can sometimes need the push, right? So it's like knowing these things about yourself. It's kind of like, okay, well, how can you motivate yourself? How can you be a self-starter? These types of things. Let's see. Then Miles Marion says, L, Sun, Mars, Mercury, all in Libra in the 10th house. Okay, so for you, you want to be working with the public in one way, shape, or form. Now, this is going to be on a range when it's working with the public, okay? It can be literally things like customer service, you know, working in retail, like that's a public job. It can be things like it can be things like real estate. It can be things like, again, on a grander scale, like this, these types of things. And Libra, again, you're going to have to talk. You're going to have to connect people. That's the thing to understand. When you have Libra is the connector, right? So Libra brings people together. You have to look at them as kind of like an event planner, as like a host, right? They're like the party host. They're the ones who initiate the party, right? Because they are boundaries with energy. They bounce off of Aries, and it's like, then they're the ones who are connecting all the people together. So you might even have friends who come to you and are like, hey, I want to get my hair done. Do you know of a good hairdresser? And boom, you connect one that you guys know. Living in here. So I am going in order, you guys. Feel free to message in the comments below. I will get to all of your questions. Ebony says, you have Mars conjunct Jupiter in Scorpio on the 8th house. Are you a walking red flag? No. There's none of this, okay? With astrology, the way that I love to see it is like, okay, these are my shadow traits. How can I integrate these shadow traits? So you're not a walking red flag if you choose not to be. That's the thing, that Scorpio energy can choose to go into those energies, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. So you have that awareness, right? So you're not just naturally a walking red flag, but again, you can choose to go into those energies is really what that is. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you know you have these shadow traits, it might be a constant choice every day for you to be like, okay, I'm not going to manipulate people. Okay, I'm not going to, take advantage of that person's triggers that's a little bit more unaware, because that's how Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy is going to know everything about people, right? Sometimes Scorpio is going to be like, just to shit disturb. They're going to be like, oh, I know that's that person's trigger. Okay, let me poke at it. You know what I mean? So knowing these things about yourself, maybe choosing not to go in that direction. What else are you guys saying in here? Asami Art says, you have a stellium in the 7th house, but you hate marriage and you're in your 30s. Yeah, honestly, I feel like overall, we're slowly starting to move away from that concept. I have so much to say, but that's just a whole video for another day. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to, it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have a 7th house telling that you're going to be focused on marriage. Keep in mind, 7th house deals with a lot of different things. It's also very good at business because you're connecting people, right? So you can take that energy and figure out a way to connect people in a different way, right? Because it deals with contracts, so it can be business contracts. Doesn't necessarily have to be just marriage contracts. Let's see. Then Miles Marion says, Sun, Mercury, Mars, all in Libra in the 10th house. I think I did you already. Anna says, North Node in Pisces and in the 8th house, also in retrograde. So North Node is usually retrograde, I'm pretty sure. Pisces in the 8th house. So for you to understand where you're going in this lifetime, which is going to be your North Node, you have to look at where you've come from. So if you have North Node in Pisces in the 8th house, the South Node for you would be in Virgo in the 2nd house. So in a past life, it could have been a very day-to-day life for you. It could have been very much routine. It could have been very much, get up, go to work, come home, I don't know, maybe take care of the kids, or maybe go to this class, that class, very like routine-based. This lifetime, because you've mastered that already, you probably have that luxury already. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you have like a financial support system or something of the sort, because it comes from a past life for you already. So in this lifetime, you've incarnated with that luxury already, right? That comfort. You don't have to focus on the day-to-day anymore. Now you can go into the spirituality, right? Because Pisces 8th house is all spirituality. It's all spirituality. It deals with mysticism. It deals with art even, right? So you might be really, really creative when you have that mediumship, when you have 8th house. So you guys have to look at the North Node as something you're working toward in this lifetime, okay? That's really what the North Node is all about. Don't worry, you guys. I'm going to get to all of your questions. I'm just going in order here. Kai says, inside on Moon conjunct South Node. So your past life is connected to your emotional world. So maybe, for example, it kind of depends what you have in there. Let me know what you have in what house it's in and what sign you have in there. Because, for example, Moon conjunct South Node could be something like, I don't know, maybe something emotionally traumatic happened to you in a past life. You're not carrying this energy within you in this lifetime. And it's like it's something that has to be cleared, just as an example. Let's see. Let me go back up. I've lost my spot. Where was I? Okay. Jan says, Virgo Sun, Aries Moon, Scorpio Rising. What would you like to know about that? Partners for Mercury in your 12th house. Okay. When you have Mercury in the 12th house, you basically have to have someone who is patient, understanding, someone who actually listens, right? You can't be with someone who's like flighty, or someone who's like, okay, yeah, just like get it out already, right? Kind of like a Gemini energy. You probably wouldn't get along with people like that because it's like 12th house is all about, again, it's the Piscean energy. You know a lot of things. You have a lot of knowledge. When you're younger, you might have not been heard, right? So it's like if you weren't heard, maybe you carry that energy within you. And then it's like maybe if you manifest someone who doesn't listen, it just like, puts salt into the wound. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure the person's able to listen. Someone who's understanding, someone probably who's emotionally intelligent. When you have Mercury in the 12th house, someone who wants to talk about all sorts of topics, right? Because you're going to know a lot of things, right? You're going to know a lot of things, especially about spirituality. And Mercury in the 12th house, usually that can be a singer-songwriter. It can be a poet. It can even be a channel, right? So you're probably going to have to be with someone who is also either psychic or open to like the psychic world, the intuitive world, someone who's like in tune. Let's see. Jan Klimo says, 4th house stellium in Taurus. Welcome. Let me know what you would like to know about that. Anna says, your partner has a Taurus moon in the 12th house. They're Gemini and Gemini ascendant. You have a Gemini moon. Any thoughts? Your partner has a Taurus moon in the 12th house. They're Gemini and you have a Gemini moon. Well, it's really grounding for your Gemini moon, the Taurus moon. No worries. You're welcome. Jan says you have a Libra midheaven and you work for one of the big 3 airlines. No way. Well, there it is. Yeah, that's the thing. The Libra energy has to be like out there interacting. You know what I mean? Because if they're like in an office, they're still going to be like the type of person who spends all day socializing, you know, when you have Libra in your natal chart. It's like they're going to be the ones bothering all the other employees, you know. You can't be at like a job where you're just like sitting all day, you know. It has to be like movement and moving around and talking and connecting and these types of things. Peanut Butter says, oh my gosh, Elon Musk is in the chat. Welcome. Peanut Butter says, partner sign is in your 12th house. Will it be toxic? Not necessarily. You know, here's the thing. Like, I think that humans make things toxic. I wouldn't say that there's astrology things that will necessarily be toxic. The thing is, you can be aware of certain things with astrology, which is amazing, right? So it's like it brings certain things to your awareness, and then you can kind of like work at that, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So for example, 12th house, if you were in here when I was talking about 12th house for the other individual, you're going to be psychic. So you need someone who's psychically in tune or someone who's open to that world. You're going to be someone who's interested in astrology, these types of things. So you need someone who's going to be understanding of the way that you are, basically. Let's see. Jan says, walking red flag is Scorpio moon, Sag rising, and Capricorn sun in the 12th house, Cancer in the 7th for you. Oh my gosh, you're probably super psychic, Jan. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? Ebony says, ha ha ha, it's so hard to get rid of that impulse to get revenge for those who cross me. Trust me, I know, that's the thing. And it's like, that's just part of like the, I guess, growth and evolution on this earth plane, right? Is like becoming aware of how we can be. A quote that I read that I really liked was basically saying like, when you see someone who has a lot of light, there's a lot of darkness too, right? It's just kind of like you actively choose to go into the light side. Kai says your moon is in Capricorn 11th house. Your south node is also in Capricorn 11th house. Oh, it's very, very much grounding, very futuristic. So in a past life, maybe, interesting what's coming through for you is maybe in a past life you could have had like an idea or an invention that like didn't go through. So maybe in this lifetime you fear like speaking your ideas to people or something of that sort. I don't know. Let me know if that resonates. Sunfire Aries says, thank you so much for the likes, you guys. How is Mars and Pisces in the 7th house like? Okay, anyone who's joining, let me know if you guys have questions. I'm going in order, so just put them in the comments below. Okay, Mars and Pisces in the 7th house. Okay, so that's not necessarily going to be like the most conflict resolution type of placement. The thing is, Mars is Aries, right? So Mars is like, I want to resolve the problem right away, right? 7th house is kind of like, oh, I want everyone to like me. I don't want to make anyone mad. Like the people-pleasing energy, like that's not Libra energy. But what I will tell you guys about Libra energy is like, sometimes they can be just as explosive as Aries because it's like, they bottle everything up for that reason. Oh, I want everyone to be happy. Or it's like, I'm going to let it slide. I'm going to let it slide. And then they explode all of a sudden. So that might happen to you sometimes. Same thing with the Piscean energy. It's like Pisces is all about unconditional love. They're all about the high vibes. You know what I mean? They're like, let's just, you know, all be happy and high vibes and everything's great. So it's like when it comes to anger and conflict resolution, like they're not really like the most like, you know, conflict resolution type of placements. But in terms of motivation, things that are going to motivate you are going to be things like art, right? Is going to be a huge one. Maybe music. It can be things like event planning, hosting parties. These could be very like motivational things for you, connecting people together, groups of people, having friends, like large groups of friends. Astrofact says, what types of chart do you use? I like to use Placidus, Western Tropical Astrology. Connie says, Scorpio rising and Leo moon. Any thoughts? So you're going to want to be seen. I'm curious to know if you're interested in acting. Scorpio rising tends to be very good at acting because they tend to have a Leo midheaven. So let me know if that's what your midheaven sign is in. What else are you guys saying in here? Alana says, hey, Alana, how are you? Taurus, Sun, Virgo, Moon, and Libra rising, and your boyfriend is Capricorn, Sun, Gemini, Moon, and Pisces rising. Are you guys a red flag? Let's see. Taurus, Sun, Virgo, Moon, Libra rising. Capricorn, Sun, Gemini, Moon. No, I feel like that balances out very nicely, actually. Because it's kind of like the Gemini moon's being grounded by the Virgo sign, and then you're both earth signs, and it's like you have the lovey-dovey energy going on with the rising signs, the Pisces and Libra rising. So I don't really see any red flags in there. Anna says you have no idea what to study to work with your Taurus midheaven. That's the thing. Okay, so the thing is with the midheaven sign, it doesn't necessarily tell you what job you'll have. It just kind of tells you how you present yourself to the public. Like I feel like that's a huge misconception because sometimes I look at natal charts and it's like it can manifest so many different ways. Taurus midheaven can be good at a lot of things. It really depends because it's like Taurus midheaven wants to be seen as someone who's like hardworking. You want luxurious things and you're willing to put in the work. So it's kind of like it depends on the rest of your natal chart. Then Miles Marion says, your boyfriend is a Pisces with a moon in Cancer. How to deal? You're a Libra moon in Aries. Sometimes he's too emotional for me. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, here's the thing, you guys. I find that men in general, so this is like cis het men, okay? So they tend to struggle with like the water sign placements because it's like up until now, they haven't really had, you know, an outlet for their emotions. And it makes sense when you say he's too emotional for you, because it's like, for women, right, they have other groups of women where they can talk about their feelings, and it's like more socially acceptable. You know what I mean? For them, they don't have like that type of dynamic with their guy friends. I mean, that's slowly starting to change, which is amazing. And if any of you are in here, maybe you can suggest it to your friends, right? And be like, you guys can start these like men's sharing circles and groups, right? So it's like what tends to happen is like then they have all these feelings and then they put them on their girlfriend, right? Or like they only talk to their girlfriend, and then it's like too much for you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, think about it, right? For you, you might go to your friends and you talk about with your friends about all these things, but they don't really have anyone to talk to. So that's the thing. And because he has the moon in Cancer, the moon in Cancer is going to have a lot of feelings. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be very much feelers. So I totally understand where you're coming from. What else are you guys saying in here? Queen, thank you. Kai says, it kind of does resonate. Your Mercury's in the 12th house. It doesn't make it any better. Yeah. Mercury in the 12th house, honestly, like the biggest suggestion I have for that placement is to like figure out a way to say things that are clear and to the point. That's the thing, because otherwise the Mercury in the 12th can start with this thing and go off and talk about that other thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's just so much, it's a wealth of information, and it's like sometimes Mercury in the 12th, when they're speaking, they just like have information coming through, like they're channeling, right? Because it's like it's past life connected, it's karmically connected to your past life. So your intellect, your mind, and all these things that you know is connected to your past lives. You know what I mean? So it's like that's why sometimes like you might feel like people don't understand you, or you feel like you're not heard, like these types of things. What zodiac placements don't make sense, or why do some zodiac placements not make sense? What do you mean? Hey, Elena, if you're still in here, what's going on? Connie says, your MC is in Leo. You work in real estate. Your Taurus, Mercury, and Mars in the 7th messes you up sometimes. Taurus, Mercury, and Mars in the 7th. The thing is, the 7th house is really good at business. That's the thing. Because it deals with business contracts. You know what I mean? And the 7th house deals with connecting people together. That's a huge thing to understand. So let me know what messes you up about that. What Capricorn signature sign? What is Capricorn signature sign like? Can you please reword your question? What would you tell you about Pisces Venus conjunct Uranus in the 11th house? What would I tell you about Pisces Venus conjunct Uranus in the 11th house? Okay, so for you, relationships are going to be completely different. It's going to be something that's completely unconventional. It's going to be something that's like, again, away from the norm. Like, for example, you might be someone who might not be interested in a marriage, but you might call it like a love ceremony. You know what I mean? Like something like this where it's like, you don't go and do like the traditional type of marriage where people go into City Hall and like they sign the papers, like these types of things. You might be interested in like, I don't know, you go into a field somewhere with like flowers and like, you know, those like pretty things, and you're like, it's a love ceremony. That could happen. In general, in terms of relationships, it's going to be unconventional. Pisces Venus is like, you guys love a lot of people. You know what I mean? So again, for you, like being with one person, like might not be the ideal situation. Doesn't mean you don't want to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be, right? But it's like, it's unconventional relationships. Anytime you have Uranus conjuncting or aspecting anything in your natal chart, it's going to be anything that's away from the norm, away from the status quo. And for you in relationships, it's going to be really important for you guys to be working towards something together, towards some sort of bigger dream, towards some sort of bigger goal, like these types of things. Okay, so important to keep that in mind. What else are you guys saying in here? Let's see. Yes, definitely check out my videos on YouTube. Barbara Talks is my YouTube channel. Anna says, your Cancer, Mars, Leo, Venus, Scorpio rising is begging for someone emotional. Or you said Scorpio, Mercury. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I like astrology, because sometimes you learn certain things about yourself, and it's like, you know, with those placements, it's like you want someone who's emotional and you want someone who's loyal too, right? Because Leo really, really wants loyalty, and so does Scorpio. So it's like, you know, doing like fun relationships that are like 1 month and then 3 months and then like whatever, like dating multiple people at the same time, like probably won't be something that you're interested in. What else are you guys saying in here? Insight on Saturn transiting the first house. You're going to go through huge identity changes. Anytime you have any Saturn transit, what I would suggest to you guys is to basically just allow and like take the path of least resistance. Honestly, anytime you're going through a Saturn transit, it's like take the path of least resistance, and internally you're going to feel it. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever path is simpler, easier for you is just going to make the whole process easier. But yeah, you're going to go through identity changes. You might even do things like switch up your hairstyles and I don't know, just go through huge identity shifts. You might do something like sign up for the gym. Maybe you were never a gym person and now you sign up, like these types of things. What else are you guys saying in here? Oh my gosh, there's so many of you guys in here. Welcome. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? I'm just going in order for the questions for all the new people joining. Connie says the stubbornness messes you up the most with Gemini Venus. Oh yeah. Gemini Venus, it's gonna, the thing is, so the struggle with Gemini and Libra placements, it's like you internally can have two beliefs existing at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like, for example, you can believe that you don't have to work hard to achieve your goals, and then you can believe that you do have to work hard to achieve your goals, and then that messes up like the manifestation of it because it's like they're contradicting. You know what I mean? So for anyone who has placements like this in your natal chart, it's kind of like you kind of have to figure out a way to be like, okay, no, this is my belief and I'm sticking to it. But it's hard because it's like Gemini and Libra can see things from all of the different perspectives. Issues with Aries in Saturn and Gemini Venus. Are you talking about in relationships? Yi says, Sun in the 8th, square Pluto in the 10th house, 0 degrees. Please, your insight. Okay, so 0 degrees. So 0 and 29 are always the important degrees. 0, you have to look at it as like, you know, it's like the starting of that sign. You know what I mean? It's the beginning. So it's going to be like the freshest energy of that sign. So what sign do you have it in? You said Sun, 8th, square Pluto in the 10th house. Sun in the 8th, square Pluto. Can you tell me what signs you have it in? Anna says Leo Venus, Aries Venus, both Cancer Mars, Taurus Moon, and Gemini Moon. Is that you and your partner? Harley says, is T thinking of anything long-term with you? Interesting. I'm not answering any questions of that sort, but energetically, for whatever reason, I am picking up on a yes. Mariella says, how can I survive Mercury retrograde? Okay, so we're not in Mercury retrograde right now. We're going to be starting, I think, December 29th. So funny. I just looked this up the other day. It's going to be going from January 29th, and I think until, December 29th, I think until January 18th. And then you have 2 weeks pre-shadow, 2 weeks post-shadow. Honestly, Mercury retrograde happens every 3 months. So the best thing you guys can do is just get used to the energy and just kind of like, not just expect the unexpected, but you can't like revolve your life around it. You know what I mean? It's like, there's always going to be things coming to the surface. There's always going to be exes coming from the past. There's always going to be like situations that need to be resolved. You're going to have technological issues. The thing is, during that time, you're always going to reflect, but you don't want to get stuck in the reflecting phase in the sense where it's like, oh, I really want to get back together with my ex. No, that's Mercury retrograde. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just meant to reflect. You're meant to purge whatever like emotions are still like remaining in the situation. You know what I mean? You're not meant to actually get back together with that person. Let's see. Vula says, Leo female, Gemini male, and he's all over the place. Yeah, okay. Gemini energy, for whatever reason, I read that as Libra female, Gemini male, but Leo female, Gemini male. Yeah, Gemini energy is all over the place. The thing is, I find the air signs to be more feminine energy leaning. So air signs, water signs are more feminine energy leaning than I find earth signs and the fire signs to be more masculine energy leaning. That's just my own interpretation of it. So when you have a Gemini male, they tend to be more feminine energy leaning in the shadow aspect where it's like they're scattered. You know what I mean? Because if we look at divine masculine energy, and we all have masculine feminine energy within us, you guys, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, right? So when you look at divine masculine energy, it's very much, you know, you say you're going to do something and you do it, you know, you execute things through until the end, where it's like the Gemini energy is feminine, right? So the feminine energy is kind of like, oh, I want to do like this, oh, I want to do like that, you know, the shadow aspects of it, right? So yeah, that's probably why he's all over the place. Issues with Gemini Venus. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? Hold on, I'm going back up. I lost my spot, but I will find it again. Okay. Cece says, issues with Gemini Venus staying to one person. Yeah, Gemini Venus is definitely going to want to date a lot of people. Yeah, they're going to want to date a lot of people, especially in the earlier part of their life, before they go into their secondary progressions. Keep in mind, you guys, we go through the progressions and we go through transits. So it doesn't necessarily mean this person's always going to be like this, but earlier part of life, they're going to want to be, I don't want to say surface level, but yeah, they don't really want depth. They want to have fun. That's the thing. And for them, they learn through relationships. The Gemini energy, okay, Gemini, the earlier signs, so like Aries, Gemini, even Leo, they're very like childlike energetically. Do you know what I mean? So you have to look at them as like a kid, you know, a kid's excited about everything, you know? So that's how they are in love. Gemini moon, so someone's saying, so your mom says Gemini sun, Sag moon, and rising. What would you like to know about that? Thoughts on Jupiter in the first house. So basically you can make money through yourself. That's the thing, it's conjuncting your ascendant. So I'm curious to know what you have in the ascendant sign. But yeah, it's going to expand this area for you. So again, you're going to have like a huge presence, something like this, right? It expands. Anytime you pick yourself in life, you know, you're going to bring through abundance in one way, shape, or form. Now, abundance can be money, it can be other things. That's the thing. So any sort of first house energy type things, you're picking yourself, you're working for yourself, you're starting a new project, you're starting a new job, you're a manager, expansion, right? It expands this area for you, bring through more abundance. Astrofact says you also have Venus conjunct Uranus, trine Jupiter, sextile moon, square ascendant, semi-square sun. Connie says, what do you think about your Gemini sun opposing Pluto? So I'm guessing your Pluto is going to be in the sign of Sag, and you have the opposition there. Well, you're going to go through a lot of changes within the ego, within the self. Okay, Sun, Fire, Aries says, what are your thoughts on someone who has Saturn in Aquarius? Okay, so I recorded a Saturn series on my YouTube channel. I go through Saturn and the houses. So it can apply to the signs. Not necessarily everything will, but some things will. So Saturn in Aquarius, people are going to be, well, first of all, they're going through their Saturn return right now. Okay, so that's one thing that's taking place, and they're going to be coming out of it in March, which is awesome. So that's one huge thing. Saturn in Aquarius, ahead of their time, the limitations are going to be on things like their freedom. It's going to be on things like their ideas. They might feel like they're not heard because again, they're advanced, they're ahead of their time, and then Saturn delays things for you. So it's like, if you have a lot of ideas, or this person has a lot of ideas, right? It's like, it's good for them to write it down because it could come in handy in the future because they're ahead of their time. And like, let's say now they're speaking, people might not necessarily understand what they're saying because the collective's not there yet. So I do have a video on Saturn in the 11th. So some things in that video could make sense. You guys can check it out on my YouTube. It's called Barbara Talks. Clara says you have a Scorpio Venus. Oh my gosh, there's so many Scorpio Venuses in the house tonight. You said you have Scorpio Venus, Sag rising, and the guy you're seeing has a Sag Venus in the first house. And then you said did you say anything else after that? Why are we so unstable? Well, one thing I will say to you, Scorpio Venus and Sag Venus isn't necessarily the best placement. Scorpio wants depth. They want to hold on to the person. They want someone from mind, body, spirit connection. Sag Venus is kind of like that bachelor energy. They want to be single. They want to have fun. They want to be free. These types of things. So it's kind of like, it's interesting to see because it's like the Scorpio Venus person wants to hold on to the Sag Venus person, but the Sag Venus person wants to be free. So it's like, maybe that's part of the reason. The Miles Marion says your moon is in Aries at the 4th house, but you saw it's on the 0-degree orb and you have influence of Pisces. CC says Aries in Saturn with moving slowly through structure. Gemini in Venus, issue with liking multiple people. What do you mean with moving slowly through structure? Aries in Saturn, Gemini in Venus, issue. Yeah, Gemini Venus is going to like a lot of different people and sometimes at the same time. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? I went to the bottom, but I'm coming back up. The Miles, your phone died. Okay, so this is your mom says your phone died. No, I didn't. I think you came back into the room when I went over your question. Then Miles Marion says Aries moon at the 4th house, 0-degree old Pisces, also influence. How is it? What would you like to know about that exactly? CC says you're both Gemini Venus. Well, the thing is, if you're both Gemini Venus, you guys are going to understand each other. You know what I mean? And it's like, as long as you guys keep things fun and interesting in the relationship, it'll last. Like it needs to be like an intellectual connection, and things like short distance trips could be interesting. Like you got to switch up the vibes because it's like that Gemini energy is like, you know, they want to be stimulated at all times. So if you guys are able to keep that up in the dynamic and you both understand that about each other, that's perfect. What else are you guys saying in here? Hold on, I went to the bottom, but I'm coming back up again. I keep losing my spot. Okay, Ebony says, any thoughts about Neptune retrograde? Thank you guys so much for the likes. In Sagittarius in the 9th house in the natal chart. Neptune retrograde. Yes, Neptune retrograde is, you're basically relearning that lesson, okay? So you have it in Sagittarius in the 9th house. So there's something here that you didn't see clearly in a past life that you're coming through to clear in this lifetime. So maybe it has to do with higher education, learning, freedom. Actually, interestingly enough, what's coming through is like, I don't know if this is going to resonate, but what's coming through is like in a past life, you could have basically sacrificed a lot of yourself, a lot of your dreams, because that's what Neptune is, for another person. So in this lifetime, you're relearning that lesson. You can let me know if that resonates. He says, Sun in 29 degrees Cancer squares Pluto in Libra, direct, hold on, Sun in 29 degrees, Cancer squares Pluto in Libra, Sun 8th house, Pluto 10th. Oh yes, okay. Wow, you have it at 29 degrees, but you have Pluto in Libra, so probably progressed out of there by now. The earlier part of your life was probably really hard. Sun in Cancer sometimes can have an alcoholic father. Yeah, sometimes that can take place when you have Sun in Cancer. There could have been a theme of alcoholism within the family line. But yeah, in relationships, this could be like a repeating pattern for you because it is squaring your Pluto. So let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Let me just go back up. Common careers for Sag Moon Rising. Okay, Sagittarius energy, this is my opinion, and maybe my opinion only, I don't know. I find Sagittarius to be very good at whatever they pick to do. It just takes them a while to pick that thing. You know what I mean? But when they pick it, because they got that fire energy in there, like Sag Moons have been very successful from what I've observed in people's natal charts. Like if they pick a craft and they're like, I'm doing this, that fire energy is like being directed in that direction, you can pick whatever you want. The thing is, it depends on the rest of your natal chart. I find that Sagittarius energy has to work with the public in one way, shape, or form. They have to be in something where they're either teaching, speaking, coaching, mentoring, like teaching something. The thing is, if you have Sag in there, you don't want to fall into like a preachy energy. Sometimes that can take place with Sag energy, and you're going to be convincing. You know what I mean? And it's mutable, so people are going to like you. So it's really up to you what you want to do. Let's see. I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I've got to head out. Mariella says, you're a Capricorn sun and your boyfriend is a Pisces. Are you compatible? Yeah, it's a very grounding energy. Like Capricorns are very easy energetically to work with. Because I find like Capricorn energies, like if they feel like a person's wasting their time, they're going to just cut them out. You know what I mean? So as long as the person, and it's like you're grounding for the Piscean energy for that person. Do you know what I mean? Because the Piscean energy is all about the dreams and like romanticizing things, and your boyfriend can be like a huge romantic. It really depends on a lot of things in your natal chart as well when we're looking at synastry, but like just briefly, it could be that. Can someone tell you about ascendant conjunct Saturn? Hold on one second. I'm just going to drink my water. Okay, I'm back. So ascendant, okay, Saturn conjunct ascendant is going to be in your first house. I do have a video on this. I'm just trying to find my spot again. Okay, I do have a video on Saturn in the first house. You're going to have identity struggles when you have Saturn conjunct your ascendant, basically in the sense where it's like it doesn't necessarily mean you don't know who you are. It's just like for whatever reason, when you were growing up, your identity, your sense of self was restricted. Now, Saturn usually deals with the father. If it's not the father, it's going to be the dominant masculine role in your life. So because it does deal with this person, whoever was that authoritative figure tried to put you down. So for you, this might remanifest now in things like your jobs, right? Your managers might want to put you down, or your teachers might want to put you down. The thing is, it's like people see the potential in you, and the thing is you have to see the potential in yourself. But it's like it takes longer, right? Because that's what Saturn does. It draws things out. It's over an extended period of time. Let's see. What are your thoughts about Jupiter Virgo in the 12th house? Oh, that's interesting. That's an oppositional energy when you have Virgo and the 12th house. So for you, abundance can come through anything to do with healing, being of service, helping people. The thing is, the Virgo energy, personally, again, this is just my opinion, I find Virgos to be very good also at whatever they pick because they're perfectionists. You know what I mean? I always make the joke where it's like, if you want something done properly, give it to a Virgo because you're going to notice every detail. So the thing is, no matter what you pick to do, you're going to be very much perfectionist at that thing. And it's like, I want it to be like ideal. You know what I mean? Or it's like, you know, I want all of the information to be out there. It's attention to detail. So any realm that requires attention to detail is going to be expensive for you. That's the thing with the Virgo energy in there. So you can pick so many things. It really depends on the rest of your natal chart. But all of these things are going to bring through abundance for you. It could even be things like embroidery or sewing. The 12th house is all things to do with like the Piscean dreams, right? So anytime you're engaging in Piscean-like activities, maybe it is the psychic realms, maybe it's music, maybe it's art, maybe it's film, maybe it's makeup, right? This is going to expand. It's going to bring through abundance for you. That's the thing. That's how you have to look at Jupiter. What else are you guys saying in here? Okay, I'm going to have to do one or two more questions and then I'm going to have to sign off, but I will be back, you guys. Check out my YouTube. It's called Barbara Talks. Aries Mercury conjunct North Node in the 11th house. What would you like to know about that? Hello, you're a Gemini rising. Hello, LOL. Aquarius Sun, Pisces Moon. It's hard to figure yourself out. Gemini rising, Aquarius sun, Pisces moon. Yeah, that makes sense because it's like those energies. Okay, first of all, Pisces and Aquarius are going to be ahead of their time. You're going to be psychic. You're going to probably feel out of place a lot of the time. But it's kind of like when you have these energies, like you start trends without realizing you start these trends. So there's that energy. So you always kind of feel like you don't fit. You might have a lot of people because like all those energies do pull a lot of people towards you, like a lot of friends, I mean. But yeah, you might feel like you don't necessarily fit in them. You might be kind of like the floater friend. You know, you have a lot of friends, but it's like you feel like you're not understood or you're not heard. But the thing is, Gemini rising is going to want to talk. And sometimes Gemini rising is going to share too much information where it's like, I don't know, it's like the inner child energy where it's like you're excited and it's like, oh, I have this great idea. And then someone steals your idea. Like, it's like this type of vibe. You know what I mean? So that's the thing with the Gemini rising. But it's like, yeah, you're going to have a lot of people. You're going to have a lot of people who are just like attracted to your energy. Just like in a sense where it's like they know you. They feel like they know you because a Piscean moon is like very comforting. You know what I mean? That energy is very soft. It's very soothing. But you might not understand that. So also because you have Pisces moon, you might meld, I don't know why I'm saying meld, but you might mold or like melt, I think that's what I was trying to get at, into other people's energies. Like you might merge with other people. So that could be a reason you have a hard time trying to figure out who you are, because it's like you might have taken on a lot of other people's things without realizing. What else are you guys saying? What time do I normally go live? Honestly, I switch it up. Usually I try to do Mondays, and it's usually in this time frame window. It's going to be in the evenings. But yeah, usually I try to go for Mondays. And it's every few weeks, but I went live last week and today I did an impromptu live, so you never know. But it's always going to be earlier in the week, and it's always going to be between, I would say 5 and like 7 latest is the time. Recently, like other than today, I've been coming on around like 6:30, 7-ish. Today I came on early because I have the time. Okay. What else are you guys saying in here? Let me just answer. Thank you. Your father had alcohol issues. You're really out sharp and on point. Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. I love it when you guys confirm. Resonates, Barbara. Thanks a lot. No worries. You're welcome. Let's see. Oh my gosh, let me just do one more question. We'll check my YouTube. Yes, it's called Barbara Talks. What else are you guys saying in here? Okay, Javier says, Gemini Sun, Scorpio Rising, and Leo Moon. First sentence to come to mind. Oh my gosh. Okay, with the Scorpio rising, I thought of very intelligent. That's the first thing that came to mind. But with all those things, I'm interested to know if you're interested in working in things like acting. Scorpio rising can be very good actors. Leo moon and Gemini sun need to be seen. They need to work with people. You're going to be funny. Stand-up comedy could be something that you're interested at. But the Scorpio rising is going to want to be hidden. That's why sometimes acting is good, because it's like you're hiding, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're taking things that have happened to you and you're expressing them, like you're releasing them, like traumatic things. Because all Scorpio placements are going to have some sort of trauma that they're transmuting in their life, right? But acting is a good way of releasing that, right? Because it's like you're not saying it, because they do struggle with vulnerability sometimes. So you're not directly saying it, but you're doing it through acting, if that makes sense. Alrighty. You said yes. Okay. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love the confirmation. Hey, Burner. Oh my gosh. Did you just come on? I am signing off now. So I will be back live soon again. You guys check out my YouTube. It is Barbara Talks. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your evening.